President Donald Trump is sworn in as 47th President of U.S. and he signs a series of documents advancing policy priorities.
Mr. President and Madam First Lady, Mr. Vice President and Madam Second Lady, my colleague Senator Fisher, distinguished guests including the Speaker, Leader Jeffries, and Senate Leaders Thune and Schumer, on behalf of the United States Congress, welcome to the 60th inaugural lunch.
Seated at a desk in the heart of the Capitol One arena, Trump followed through on a promise to reverse his predecessor's initiatives by signing executive orders. The first document he signed revoked 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda.
Big surprise, we are featuring Nebraska beef and Minnesota apples for dessert.
And related measures, as detailed by a representative narrating the event. Typically, the presidential inauguration parade winds its way through the streets of Washington, D.C. However, with an Arctic blast bringing freezing temperatures to the U.S. East Coast, the event was modified and moved indoors to the Capitol One arena. On Monday afternoon, a succession of marching bands paraded through the arena, and a brief memorial was held for Corey Comprator, a volunteer firefighter tragically killed during a failed assassination attempt on Trump in July. Here's a recap of key events from Monday, the start of Donald Trump's second term as president. In his final hours in office, Democrat Joe Biden issued preemptive pardons for allies, including his brothers, Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, and members of the January 6th committee. Due to freezing temperatures, Trump's inauguration was held inside the Capitol Rotunda, with foreign leaders like Argentina's Javier Milei and Italy's Giorgia Meloni in attendance. In his address, Trump condemned Biden's administration, criticized the weaponization of the justice system, and proposed expanding U.S. territory by reclaiming the Panama Canal. He also announced plans to declare drug cartels terrorists and withdrew the U.S. from the Paris Agreement for a second time. Later, at a rally in the Capitol One arena, Trump signed executive orders freezing government hiring and halting new federal regulations. From their seats in the stands, Trump and his family observed the proceedings, occasionally waving and raising their fists in acknowledgement before departing following the president's speech. He then proceeded to sign a series of documents that called for suspension of new government regulations, a hiring freeze for federal positions, excluding the military, mandatory return to in-person work for federal employees, federal agencies tasked with addressing the cost of living crisis, withdrawal of the United States from the Paris Agreement, a key climate change treaty, prohibition of government censorship, termination of the weaponization of government against political opponents. After signing the 7 documents, Trump stood up and offered fist pumps as the crowd chanted, "USA! USA!" At one point during the ceremony, he exclaimed, "Could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so."